Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another video. And just as I did my Actors Memorial of 2016, now if you're doing uh, the year 2016s of all the box office bombs that flopped with a budget of big or small, as are all the ones that from what I gathered, that have flopped throughout this whole year. So right now, let's get right down to the list. May not be all of it. This is for what I gathered throughout the year. So let's get right down to it. So the first bomb of 2016 was an animated film called Norm of the North. It was an animated film with a polar bear that goes to New York and has these these as a sidekick, these penguins as their sidekicks. Uh, yeah, it came. It almost brought back its budget. It was like a modest budget of 18 million, but apparently it made 17 million overall. So it came close to bringing back its budget though, but still, it was a few thousand short just from making it back. So it would say it's a short box office flop because it came close to bringing back its budget. So yeah, Norm of the North, 18 million, made 17 million. Basically the shortest flop there is in this list. Next, it was a Western film called Jane Got a Gun. It starred Natalie Portman and I think Ewan McGregor. Or I think it was Joel. I think it was Joel Edgerton. I think it was. I think it was Joel Edgerton. Yeah, Jane Got a Gun had a horrible opening. Budget of 25 million, and they made 1.5 million. January is just not. January is just not a good month for films. Whether I think it's a small budget or a big budget. January is just not a good. It's not a good month. So yeah, Jane Got a Gun, especially Western, especially for the genre of Western films, has a lot of flops, and it's just a hard genre to watch. Thinking whether it's gonna be good or bad. Yeah, but Jane Got a Gun, $25 million budget, made only 1.5 million. Next is a horror film called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which was based on a book. I haven't heard, honestly, I have not heard the book until when they announced they're gonna make a film about this. So I looked it up, so it was based on a book. Didn't look that very interesting to me. Yeah, it's a horror film with zombies. Like, oh, it's supposed to be like a. I've heard of the thing of Pride and Prejudice though, but try to take something like a drama or a romance type of thing and make it like a horror film. And to me, from what I saw from the trailer, it just looked like a Resident Evil type of movie, or something like from like Abraham Lincoln versus Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It was like a mixture of that though. But yeah, it did horrible. It had $28 million budget. It made 10 million domestically, and worldwide 16 million. So it failed to make half of the budget. So yeah, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, no good. Next was one of the biggest flops of this year. Definitely one of the biggest flops. Is especially for coming out in February though, is Gods of Egypt. Starred Gerard Butler and Jeffrey Rush. From the same guy, Alex Pro, how to pronounce his last name. The guy who directed Knowing and The Crow with Brendan Lee, I, Robot. I like I, Robot. I enjoy The Crow. Knowing, I have to rewatch that again. But he directed this film, and it was a huge flop, and especially for our big budget film that came out in February, which reminded me like in last year with Jupiter Ascending, which was a much bigger budget than this film, and that was a huge flop as well. But Gods of Egypt, 140 million dollar budget. It made 31. It bombed horribly domestically. It made only about 31 million, and worldwide 145 million. So it made just with the help of a little bit overseas though, but otherwise still a huge flop. So yeah, worldwide 145 million though. That's still not saying much. It's another huge box office flop, one of the biggest ones of this year. So Gods of Egypt, another huge box office bomb. Next is another small one. It's like a crime film called 999. With even though it has like an all-star cast, one of them being Kate Winslet and Woody Harrelson. I forget who the rest of, like Chiwetel Ejiofor, who going to appear in Doctor Strange. Even Norman Reedus, played Daryl from Walking Dead, had an appearance in this film as well. So yeah, it had didn't do much. Made like a budget of about 20 million. Made like only 12 million. So that's another like a small flop right there. Next is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. It's like a comedy slash I wouldn't call it thriller. It was like no type of not drama. It's like a comedy with had like a little bit of action. I don't know. I haven't seen the film, so I saw little bits in the trailer. Started Tina Fey. Made with $35 million budget, made only like 23 million. So I haven't seen the film, so I don't know if it's good or not. Moving on. Next on the list is The Young Messiah. I'm not that interested in those biblical films. Like an $18.5 million budget, million like 6. I haven't seen it, so I don't care to see it. Next is this sports comedy called The Bronze. Yeah, even though it had a very low budget of 3.5 million, but it only made much less than that. Had a more like horrible, and it only made like $115,000. So that was like even though it's a low budget, still it was a huge flop in that aspect. So yeah, The Bronze. So next is this another action slash or thriller film called Criminal. It's one that starred Kevin Costner and Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Oldman, and even when Ryan Reynolds in it was called Criminal. I saw that though. I thought it was like okay. Even with some A-list actors they're like Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Oldman, Kevin Costner. It was still a flop though. It's not definitely one of the best films of this year. Or I wouldn't put this in one of my worst ones though, but it was just okay. Time waster at best. It's just like But still, I think it was like $31.5 million budget and maybe like 14 million. So yeah, I don't think I won't be picking up that on DVD anytime soon. But next is a one called like Elvis and Nixon. I think it was the one that starred Michael Shannon. I think he played Elvis, and I forget who the other guy who played Nixon. But it had like $18.5 million budget, and it only made like $1.55 So yeah, Elvis and Nixon. I haven't seen it, so modest budget though, but still was a flop. Next is another animated film, which is based on video games. Of course, a lot of times, like 90% of the films that's based on video games are flops. But it's an animated film that was based on a video game called Ratchet and Clank. It was a series of video games that I've heard of though, but I never played them. And and one of course one of the a couple of voices is Paul Giamatti, and one of them was Sylvester Stallone. I haven't seen it though, but I can't judge it. But apparently its budget was 20 million and made only about 8 million. So next was another huge flop in my opinion though. Even though it had made some more money overseas though, but to me I consider it's a huge flop. It is a sequel to Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, and that is Alice Through the Looking Glass. On its mega budget of 170 million. Domestically, it was a huge flop. It only made 77 million, but yeah, worldwide it was like 299 million though. So it made with the help of it overseas though. But to me, with a huge budget like that and how much it made domestically, to me that thing it's a the critics say it's a box office disappointment to consider from how the first film made over $1 billion. They thought it was gonna be like a huge success, but it was released. I remember it was released on the same weekend as X-Men Apocalypse. But yeah, the people say it's a box office disappointment. I can definitely agree with that though. But to me, I consider it's a huge flop as well because domestically, it made very little domestically and without a huge budget. Yeah, even despite with making some more money overseas though, but I consider it as a huge flop. So yeah, Alice Through the Looking Glass. To me, in my opinion, it's a huge flop, but I also say box office disappointment as well, as a lot of people would say. Moving on next to is it was kind of a Civil War film. Stars Matthew McConaughey. It's called Free State of Jones. And I would mind seeing it because I like Matthew McConaughey as an actor, so but I haven't seen it though. But Free State of Jones. It's from the guy who from the director of the first the Hunger Games. And it was a flop with a budget of 50 million. It only made 20 million. You know, from guy who go and direct the first Hunger Games, which started off this franchise, and they thought this would be a big hit, but apparently not. I guess people are not interested in Civil War films anymore. Well, I wouldn't say that. Back in 2012, Lincoln, Steven Spielberg's film Lincoln, was set around the Civil War, so. But that made money, though. Well, hey, we expect this from Steven Spielberg, and it's about President Abraham Lincoln with a performance from Daniel Day-Lewis. But other than that, though, yeah, this film was a flop with 50 million budget and only made 20 million. Maybe I'll check it out one day because I like Matthew McConaughey, but not right now, though. And moving on to the next one, which I've already did a huge rant on this film. It's the worst film of 2016, which people are going to expect when I do my top list of the worst films. I already stated this is it. This is the worst one I've seen. I would consider this a huge flop, and people say it's a box office disappointment as well, like Alice Through the Looking Glass. Independence Day Resurgence. God. I would say, in my opinion, it's a box office flop. I would say right now. And plus, they expected this to be a huge hit as well, capping off for the 20th anniversary of the first film. I've already said this before, but I'll wait when I do my worst. So I'm gonna wait this when I do my worst films of 2016. I will do that way on that though. But budget of 165 million, domestic it only made 103, so it failed to make that big of an impact. Worldwide, 386 million. So it was not the huge hit that people expected it would be. It was a box office disappointment as well, like Alice Through the Looking Glass. I call it as a huge flop as well, in my opinion. Yeah, so I'll save whatever I have left for when I do my list for that video. Next, now this one like around this time when I first heard about it, and I first heard how much the budget would be, I thought this was gonna be one of the biggest flops of this year. To me, I would say it's a flop though, but some people say it's a box office success. This one was kind of hard for me. It was hard to decide though, but I'm just going with what I feel on it. The Legend of Tarzan. It has a huge budget of 180 million. Domestically made 126, and with some of the help it did with overseas. Made like about 355 million. I would put this like in the same realm of Independence. It's like about around the same with Independence Day Resurgence, like huge budgets, but how making some below how much below the budget, how much it made domestically, but even with the help of overseas though. But I'm just calling what I think for my viewpoint is. So yeah, I would put Legend of Tarzan a huge flop because from its huge budget and domestically how much it made, and maybe it made like a little ways over 400 million, maybe like over 450 some million. Maybe I will reconsider though, but with how much it making over. When was something that makes money about that aspect with how much it made domestically and worldwide and that considered budget, it's hard to tell. But yeah, if I'm calling Independence Day Resurgence, like what that kind of looks like this results though, I'll say so. So yeah, I would put Legend of Tarzan a huge flop. Some people will say it's a success though, but maybe I can see it that way though. But I'm just going from it's my personal viewpoint here, so I'm going what I see. So yeah, and moving on, the next one I mentioned Steven Spielberg earlier, just a few minutes ago, but yeah, to me I think this is one be like the biggest flop he's ever made, and that is the BFG, aka the Big Friendly Giant. To me, I think this is I don't think this. I think this is Steven Spielberg's first biggest flop in years. Probably like way over about maybe 30 years. I would say it's been. I don't remember when the last time the film he had was a flop. Because he had a lot of hits. So, but to me, yeah, this was his biggest flop. Yeah, the BFG a budget of 140 million, domestically made 55 million, and worldwide 242 million. Yeah, like I said, with the help of overseas, people will consider it's a box office disappointment or a huge flop. I think it's Spielberg's biggest flop, and I would consider it as a huge flop as well. So yeah, and plus it came out on a crowd weekend. This came out the same weekend as The Legend of Tarzan, and around the time Finding Dory was taking away all the money. So yeah. Because plus, it didn't help anyway. Because Disney has already had a big year, breaking records left and right. So yeah, even though they had some minor setbacks like Alice in the Looking Glass and this film, but it doesn't matter because Disney is just breaking records left and right. So having a couple of huge flops here and there is just nothing to them basically. And how much money they've been making all this year. Now the next one this one deserved to flop. I hate this film. I saw it. This is right next to Independence Day Resurgence. That is the Ghostbusters reboot or remake, whatever. This film didn't deserve to. Yeah, even though it's a huge flop, but it got the pass from critics. I don't see how. I don't see why it gets the pass from critics. $144 million budget. Domestically made $128 million, and worldwide $229. That's like failing to break even. This is much failed to meet expectations how much it would make worldwide. This one deserved to flop. Yeah, this is right next to Independence Day Resurgence for me on my worst list this year. I thought I would not see it, but I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters. I did not. I will say that right now. I did not see this in theaters. But I had my other ways to watch it. But yeah, this film didn't deserve to make this much money that it made when it bombed though. It deserves to make much lower money, so it called one of the biggest flops this year. This film deserves to be to make the money about where Gods of Egypt, that deserves to make them that much amount of money. This one didn't deserve to give the pass from critics, to me, at least in my opinion. But the film deserves to be a huge flop. So yeah, I'll get to that when I do that. Ghostbusters. Horrible piece of crap. Next is a film called 9 Lives. It's It's a comedy with starring Kevin Spacey, Jennifer Gardner, and Christopher Walken. It's I can see why this one was a flop. It's about when Kevin Spacey he gets in an accident, and before this he meets Christopher Walken, who's a cat who was things with cats, and he gets into an accident, and his mind is transformed into this cat that he bought, and he has to live and he has to live until he has to do something right with his family and get. Otherwise, if he doesn't meet what he is meant to do, otherwise he's gonna be trapped in the cat's body. I knew this was gonna be. I knew this was gonna be. I knew it was a dumb idea when I first saw the teaser. But yeah, Nine Lives. And so this is the guy who directed the Men in Black films and Wild Wild West and Barry Sonnenfeld. Yeah, $30 million budget. It only made $19 million. So next is another animated movie. It's called which this film was universally critically acclaimed, but it failed to make money. And that's Kubo and the Two Strings. It was an animated movie that starred the voice of Charlize Theron, George Takei, Matthew McConaughey. Another anime film. Well, actually no. I didn't mean to say another anime film. I'm referring to the one he just did in Sing. Sing was the other one he just did, but the first one he did was Kubo and the Two Strings, and also Ray Fiennes also one of the voices as well. Yeah, Kubo and the Two Strings. Yeah, it got a lot of praise from critics though, but it failed to make money. $60 million budget, and domestically made $47 million, and worldwide $68 million. So, yeah, with a little bit more overseas though, but it is considered a huge flop. Hey, I may give that film a watch. It looks. I heard a lot of good things about it, so I'll give it a watch sometime down the road. But hey, there's a lot of films that gets critically acclaimed, but yet they turn out to be flops as well. But Kubo the Two Strings, yeah, that's a flop right there. And moving on to another big box office bomb is the remake of Ben-Hur. That starred Morgan Freeman, Jack Houston, and the guy who go on to play Doctor Doom in the last year's Fantastic Four. Yeah, the remake of Ben-Hur. The original starred Charlton Heston. Never saw this new one. Didn't care for it. Never had the interest. A budget of 100 million. Domestically made $26 million, and worldwide made $94 million. So that's another huge flop, along with other ones like Gods of Egypt, BFG. I'll even say Ghostbusters and Independence Day Resurgence. I Was Still Looking Glass. So yeah, this one, well, even though this film did not have the help of overseas, but it was a huge flop. Failed to bring back its $100 million budget. So it's another one of the biggest. It's considered one of the biggest flops this year, Ben-Hur. Next is this drama, even though I have not seen it, called The Light Between the Oceans. Budget of $20 million, domestically made $12 million, but worldwide $17 million. Haven't seen it, so I don't know, and I don't know what the film's about, so I've just only heard about it. So moving on. Next is another horror film. It starred Kate Beckinsale, called The Disappointments Room. And it's from the guy who directed Disturbia and Eagle Eye. David J. Caruso. I forget what the director's name was. It was something Caruso. Yeah, the same guy who directed Disturbia and Eagle Eye. Starred Kate Beckinsale, and it was a flop with a budget of $15 million and only made $2 million. So I haven't seen it, so I want to know what the film was about. Next is another film that stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and from the guy from director Oliver Stone, called Snowden. It's kind of like this It's kind of like a way. It was kind of like Black Hat in a way. The one with Chris Hemsworth, like where this guy character Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like this smart guy with the computers and like the cyber stuff. And people think like he's like a traitor or a terrorist, something like that. I have not seen the film, but I've saw for myself from the trailer. But yeah, 40 made a budget of 40 million. Domestically made 21 million, but worldwide 31 million. So that's another flop right there. Moving on to which is another list of the biggest bombs. The list is Deepwater Horizon from the director of Peter Berg, who directed The Rundown, The Kingdom, um, Battleship, and another film that he also just did with Mark Wahlberg too, called Patriots Day. The film that's based on the Boston Marathon bombings. But Deepwater Horizon also starring Mark Wahlberg, John Malkovich, and Kurt Russell. Budget of 110 million, and domestically made 61 million, worldwide 118 million. So that's another huge flop right there. One of the biggest on the list. But the story about that oil rig that caused one of the biggest oil spills in history, which was called Deepwater Horizon. Next is this comedy called Masterminds. Sorry, like Zach Galifianakis and Owen Wilson, from the guy who directed Napoleon Dynamite, called Masterminds. $25 million budget, made 17 million. Haven't seen it. Saw the trailer, it didn't look that funny to me. So moving on. Next is this Disney film called Queen of Katwe. This is about this African woman. I think it was Africa. I could be wrong, but she gets like good at playing chess. I haven't seen the film, so I have to give the full what the whole story was about. But apparently it was a budget of 15 million. Made worldwide 9 million though, but with domestically 8 million. So like a modest flop right there. Next is another comedy that stars Zach Galifianakis. It's called Keeping Up with the Jones. And also stars the girl who played Wonder Woman from Batman v Superman. I don't care about. I did not like her in Batman v Superman. I don't care for her in this. I saw the trailer for this and I didn't care for her in this as well. Keeping Up with the Jones. Domestically made 14 million. Worldwide 28 million on its budget of 40 million. Didn't look that funny to me, so. Next is this thriller film, stars Naomi Watts, called Shut In. As a decent budget of 10 million though, but only just didn't make any money overseas. So domestically, it only made 6 million. So it's another short of a flop right there. So Shut In, I haven't seen it though, but. Next is this war drama film called Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. That stars Vin Diesel and other ones like even Chris Tucker. Really enough, even though I saw the trailer for this, I didn't see Chris Tucker in the film. I saw Vin Diesel though. But yeah, this is the guy directed by Ang Lee, who directed Life of Pi and Brokeback Mountain and Hulk and I think there was another film that he directed. I forget. But yeah, Ang Lee. Listen to usually his films are hits though, but this one was a flop. Like 40 budget, I think it was a 40 budget of 40 million. Worldwide made 30 million, but domestically it only made 1 million. So it fared better overseas though, but not domestically in the U.S. So, but it's either way, it's still a flop. Next is this one was another Norm of the North that came very close to making it back its budget. It's called another drama called Bleed for This. Stars Miles Teller and Aaron Eckhart. Bleed for This was like the story about this. I guess it's a true story about this boxer who got injured, but he still wants to keep on boxing. Small budget of 6 million and it only made 5 million, so it came close to making it back its budget still, but that's either way, it's a flop. Next is another drama comedy. I think it is called Rules Don't Apply. And really enough, it's directed by Warren Beatty, who like for the first he stars in this and directed this. Like it came out like for the first time in over a decade. He comes back into film. He hasn't starred in a film since like back in 2001 that was called Town and Country. And since then, he hasn't starred in a film since. So, but now he comes back in this. Not only did he start it and directed it, it was a flop. Budget $25 million and only made $3 million. So then the next one, almost there. The sequel to Bad Santa, Bad Santa 2. I like the first one though. I didn't see it. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this new one yet though. But just from the trailer, to me, for the most part, I think it will suck. I like the first one though, but that was back in like 2003 or yeah, I think it was 3. And now it's been like about 13 years later. And now how the results is it's not that hit as it was like the first film. Budget $26 million. Right now it's made $17 million. So it's another flop right there. Where comparing to how the first film, how much it made money over worldwide from the first film. I just think it's between the 13-year gap. People just didn't think they would make another Bad Santa 2. Next which was the 2 new releases. They just came out on the Christmas weekend. Well, they just got a new release, so maybe they'll make money overseas though. But as of right now, there's the new one, Passengers, with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. There's a budget of $110 million, but as of right now, for how much it made over the weekend was like $30 million. But there's still time for them to make. Well, with the help of making money overseas though, so maybe it'll make. Worldwide, I'll make past the budget, but depending how much it's making domestically. And then after that, this one I think is gonna be like I would believe is the last big flop of this year, and that is Assassin's Creed, the one that's based on that popular video game franchise. Another one that's based on a video game is gonna be a huge flop. $125 million budget, and domestically, how much it made over the weekend was like $22 million, and then worldwide, as it was making, is $36 million. I don't think it's not gonna make it back its budget. Of course, it won't. I know for a fact it's not gonna make back its budget domestically, but maybe it'll have some help with it worldwide. Maybe worldwide will make past its budget though, but probably not by much. Considering everyone is seeing Rogue One. I don't think people are gonna focus on seeing that though than this one. Yeah, so like I said, films that are based on video games or just don't fare well. Maybe once in a while, maybe we get a good one or so, but before I remember, this has been a whole bunch of flops. Unless it's like the Resident Evil franchise, which they should have stopped making, because they should have stopped making making a franchise a long time ago. But no, one sequel after another, they keeps on making money, so they keep on demanding more. And now, of course, with the new one, the final chapter, hopefully it is, because they should have stopped making these films a long time ago. I'm not a fan of the Resident Evil franchise, but that's the only franchise that's based on a video game that's made money. People want to see more. That's their own opinions. They should have a right. They have right that they want to see more. But for sometimes people say it sucks, and they just say they don't want to see anymore. But no, they just keep on making more. But hopefully this will be the last one. I don't want to see any more Resident Evil films. Maybe it'll probably make less than it usually was because it's released in January. So, but Assassin's Creed, I think this is the last big flop of this year, with a big budget and how much it's making right now. It's gonna be like the last huge flop of 2016. So there you have it. That's probably the long list of flops this year. You got a lot of small flops and you got a lot of big ones. I'm just going to quickly recap on the huge flops this year. Gods of Egypt, Alice Through the Looking Glass, Independence Day Resurgence, to me, The Legend of Tarzan, the BFG, Ghostbusters, Ben-Hur, Deepwater Horizon, and then maybe I know Assassin's Creed. I will put that though, but I'm not too sure on Passengers. But I would say definitely Assassin's Creed. So yeah, so that's my list of all the box office bombs I've made up for 2016. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next. Maybe by this time that I'll do my get into my top worst and then the top best films of 2016. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for those later.